40 to 60% of your interviews should transform into a follow-up call or a free consultation. If not, there is a problem somewhere in the funnel. In this video, I want to walk through how to manage the off-air debrief with an ICP guest on your B2B podcast so that you can solve branding and lead generation for good. I'm Guillaume Jouvencel, the co-founder of GHA Marketing. We've launched and grown 107 B2B podcasts. We have 2 leading podcasts ourselves in 2 different industries, corporate treasury and consulting. And this is how we go about doing this for ourselves and our clients. This video, by the way, is part of a series of videos to complement a book called B2B Podcasting Secrets, where we break down our entire playbook on how we solve branding and lead gen for good for B2B businesses with podcasts. If interested, the link is in the description. Let's get into it. So you've made it, you've recorded the episode, created great content, and now you're within that 10 to 15 minutes window where you can talk to the guest after having built trust, built authority, built rapport, provided value first, right? And you're still in a call with them. You're in the red zone. Everything happens right now, and everything that you've built so far has led to this. Let's break down how this should go. So, first of all, start with a genuine feedback and debrief session. Hey, how was that for you? Be open to feedback. Like, do you have any feedback for me? You'll usually get 1 or 2 praises. If they have some feedback for you that you can build on, this is even better. This is how we get better as a podcast host and a B2B content creator. You can definitely offer on your side 1 or 2 genuine positive things that you liked during the interview. So I refer back to the previous video where we talk about active listening, going down rabbit holes, like really putting the spotlight on the expertise of the guest that you can just mention again in the offer debrief. Like, hey, I particularly liked what you said about XYZ. I agree with you on that, and I like the debate that we had around this other topic. Offer some genuine positive feedback to the guest just because it's worth it, valuable, and it's always nice to receive. Last thing before we go into the potential sales aspect of all this, you want to be very clear on next steps. So explain what's the editing schedule, what's the review process, if that's something you've agreed with them in the pre-interview call, what's the expected publishing date, basically everything that happens from now that recording has been done. You're at the crossroad. So I'm going to provide you with 2 kind of options that you can choose from and a fallback option in case this doesn't lead anywhere. So my favorite question to ask once we are all clear on the feedback and next step is simply to ask, hey John, how can I help? And then I just shut up and I let them talk to me. So basically here, some of them will be like, yeah, no, that was great. You've already helped a lot, giving me the opportunity to speak whatsoever. They will go like, hey, tell me what it is that you do again. Or like, hey, yeah, tell me more about what you do. Or you mentioned that you were doing XYZ during our pre-interview call, like, tell me more. So if they're hooked, they will typically ask you a question or say, hey, how can you help with this? If that's the case, just break down what you do. Just explain how you can help and see where the conversation takes us. I'm going to give you more details around this. If they say, hey, I'm good, or you've already helped a lot, this is where you can link with the gaps that you've normally identified throughout the pre-interview and the interview process. So, hey, so you mentioned that you were struggling with XYZ organization. Tell me more about that. You mentioned during the recording that your challenge for 2026, 2037, 2030 was going to be this. Like, how are you thinking about solving it? Basically, start the conversation around their pain points, the gap that you've identified, off record, of course, so you're not putting them in an uncomfortable position. This is how you trigger a conversation. Here is what you do. You quickly identify the gap that they want to talk further about. You very quickly highlight how you can help, but you don't do it right now, right then. You're running out of time. The person probably has another appointment coming up, and this requires a proper discovery, a proper conversation, a proper solution breakdown. So here is what you do then. You simply say, hey, I need to run right now, but would it be appropriate to schedule a 30-minute chat somewhere next week so that we can go deeper into all this? That's it. If they say yes, go with it. Book a meeting from a meeting. So keep those 2-3 minutes at the end of the offer debrief and the allocated time and simply say, hey, if you have your calendar handy, I can pull up mine and we can look at a specific time. I usually say same day, same time next week works for you. Usually they will say yes. If not, propose 2 or 3 additional times you want to book a meeting from a meeting if there is interest. Don't let people fall into no man's land. you want to have that in the calendars. Another play, so option number 2, if you don't feel like just jumping straight into how can I help, is talk about the gap that they mentioned and simply say, hey, to thank you for coming on the show, I'd like to show you how I would solve that problem if I were you, and lay down the plan so that you can take this home and implement it yourself if you'd like. And if you feel that you want some external help, we can potentially discuss this as well. I really want you to get that value out of me to thank you for coming on the show. It needs to be genuine, of course, and as long as you do that genuinely, they will often say yes. Like, there is no cost to this, it's free and it's value, plus you've showcased authority, build trust, build rapport, so they trust you when you make that proposition. Same thing, you book the meeting directly from them. If they don't show interest, so don't push it. Not all the guests will transform into sales opportunities, and that's all right. This is why we need to bear in mind that the bigger picture is to actually build a brand in our industry with all those interviews. So we are still serving that purpose. You can still try and make the most out of the recording and the relationship by asking some guest referrals. Like, hey, how can I help? Who can I connect you with? By the way, if you know anybody else like you who would be an awesome guest, don't hesitate to send them my way. We have a whole breakdown of how to do that in the B2B Podcasting Secrets Playbook and also in video number 1 of this series. Simply ask for referrals and that is it. Now, let's talk about the numbers very quickly. 40 to 60% of your interviews should transform into a follow-up call or a free consultation. If not, there is a problem somewhere in the funnel. You're not talking to the right people. You're not framing the pre-interview well. You're not identifying gaps, or you're not building trust, authority, and rapport the right way. For you to have those numbers, 40 to 60%, you need to do all this beforehand, and that's what the whole playbook highlights. You want to have a solid relationship. You want to have them consider you as an expert and see you as the expert and believe that you can genuinely help them. If you're not booking those 40 to 60% interview to free consultation, you are missing something in the process. If they are not taking on the offer, 1 in 2 guests should refer at least another guest, and ideally 2, 3. Those are the numbers that you should try to optimize for, all whilst building a brand thanks to the podcast. That's what the off-air debrief should typically look like. Now, very quickly, before we close this video, if you liked it, there are 2 things that I'd love for you to do. So this video is part of the series of video around a playbook called B2B Podcasting Secrets, as I mentioned. So it breaks down our entire process, everything with launching 107 B2B podcasts and how we solve branding and lead gen for all of them. You can use it. It's free in the description. Just click on the link that is appearing. 2, if you want more videos like this, you can click on the subscribe button underneath this video so that you don't miss any upcoming ones. And on that, I'll see you in the other video. Cheers.